If you complain about traffic in São Paulo, it's because you've never seen a place where the average car speed is slower than my grandmother's walking pace. If you think Rio de Janeiro has slums, imagine a whole country living like one big favela. If you consider China to be crowded, then just wait until you encounter a place that's 3 times smaller than Spain, yet more populous than Russia. If you think your river is polluted, here the water looks like oil. It's so filthy, and people still wash their clothes in it. And if you think the air in your city is heavy, here every breath is like smoking a whole pack of cigarettes, and you could probably mine rocks from your nose like coal. And if you think you work hard, some people sew nonstop their entire lives for a wage that barely buys their daily rice. Now tell me, have you ever thanked God you weren't born here? 1. The paradise of chaos. This is Bangladesh. I bet most of you can't even point to it on a map. It's right there, squeezed between India and Myanmar, next to the Bay of Bengal. Looks small? It is. But it hides one of the largest human concentrations on the planet. To give you an idea, the country is almost 3 times smaller than Spain, but has more people than all of Russia. Yes, the world's largest country by area has a smaller population than this small South Asian landlocked nation. And Bangladesh loves to collect bizarre records. It's one of the flattest places on the planet. The highest point is less than 1,000 meters. The result? Any little rain turns into a flood. Officially, almost 80% of its territory is at risk of flooding. Can you imagine living knowing your house could become an aquarium at any moment? But wait, it gets worse. The capital, Dhaka, is another level of insanity. There are already over 23 million inhabitants in the metropolitan area, more than New York, Paris, and London combined. But forget about glamour, efficient subways, or any kind of order. Here, chaos reigns. Dhaka also consistently ranks among the world's most polluted cities. Breathing here is basically like smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, without even lighting one up. And also, by the way, it's also considered the noisiest city on the planet. Imagine horns, shouting, construction, and crowds, all at the same time, 24/7. It's an apocalyptic karaoke. Want more? Dhaka's airport was once voted one of the worst in the world. This city is constantly battling floods, enduring scorching heat, and it also bears the burden of one of the largest textile industries globally. Indeed, that inexpensive t-shirt you pick up at the shop may have cost human sweat, misery, and even lives in local factories. Dhaka is so contradictory it seems like a badly told joke. While it's a suffocating urban hell, it's also the very heart that keeps Bangladesh pulsating, a place where chaos and survival walk hand in hand. And just so you know, this was merely the prelude. What comes next will make you question, how is it possible for a city like this to keep standing? 2. The weight of overpopulation. Now get ready for this. Bangladesh has 170 million people crammed into a country that would fit inside Spain almost 3 times over. To help you understand the absurdity, imagine if everyone in Brazil decided to move to Ceará. Can you imagine the hell it would become? That's right. The result? Bangladesh is now the world's 8th most populous country. But what truly boggles the mind is the population density, 1,300 individuals per square kilometer. The global average stands at just 59. I reiterate, 59. Here, it's 1,300. Do you feel the immense pressure? And then, of course, there's Dhaka, the capital city. The metro area alone holds over 23 million souls. But don't be mistaken, it's not that organized chaos like New York City, with 10,000 people per square kilometer. In Dhaka, depending on the neighborhood, you're talking about 30 to 50,000 people crammed into the same space. It's like every single street is the Champions League final, but the only trophy you get is to make it across without being hit by a rickshaw. For comparison, India has 450 inhabitants per square kilometer, China 150. Bangladesh looks at those numbers and says, "Oh, that's cute. Here, you're never alone, not even in the bathroom." And the result of that? Traffic that doesn't move, lines that never end, and a city that feels like it's about to burst with people at all times. Walking in Dhaka is like entering a human anthill. However, instead of organized ants, it's every person for themselves, pushing, honking, and trying not to get crushed in the process. 3. Traffic, horns, and survival. If you complain about torture during rush hour, then you've certainly never experienced the traffic in Dhaka. Here, driving isn't transportation, it's an extreme sport. The city loses around 5 million working hours daily due to traffic jams alone. And do you know the average car speed? It's 7 kilometers per hour. In other words, if you have decent sneakers, you'll get there faster by running than by taxi. And how do you survive in this chaos? Simple, by honking. In Dhaka, the horn isn't a warning, it's the official language. Every street here is an out-of-tune chorus of rickshaws, tuk-tuks, crumbling buses, horses, bicycles, and motorcycles piled with 3 people, and everyone communicates with a constant beep-beep. Here, a steering wheel without a horn is like a cell phone without internet. Completely useless. Entering a rickshaw is akin to partaking in a survival reality show. The driver pedals slowly, you're squeezed in, and suddenly a 1970s-style double-decker bus appears, passing 2 centimeters from your ear. In front, a horn. Behind, a horn. To the side, a horn. The noise is so continuous it's almost like background music, a soundtrack for the urban apocalypse, and the details are truly priceless. Buses drive with open doors and collectors hanging off them. Tuk-tuks look like moving cages, and motorcycles carry entire families, dad, mom, kid, dog, and perhaps even the chicken for dinner. The rule is simple. He who hesitates is lost. In Dhaka, traffic doesn't move, it survives. Ever stop to think that while you're cursing in traffic for being stuck for 40 minutes, in Dhaka, that's considered lucky? So, share this video with that friend who complains because their Uber was 5 minutes late. Here, the average speed is 7 kilometers per hour, meaning you can actually run faster than a car. Ha! Send a super thanks. It's cheaper than coming all the way to Dhaka to suffer. And as a bonus, I'm able to pay my editors without having to put them in an illegal factory sewing fake jeans. 4. Religious and social chaos. Amidst the symphony of horns and sputtering engines, the chaos suddenly changes channels. The metallic din of cars fades, replaced by a much stronger sound, the call to prayer. In Dhaka, there's no rush hour. There's a time to literally halt everything. When prayer time arrives, just forget about it. The streets become a mosque. Men pull out carpets on the asphalt, line up side by side, and start praying, while cars, motorcycles, and rickshaws try to squeeze through the sides, like rats looking for a way out. It's surreal. You're stuck in traffic, mentally cursing the driver in front of you, and suddenly you realize the street has turned into a temple. The sound of 1,000 horns mixes with the echo of voices in prayer. It's as if faith and chaos signed a contract to share the same soundscape. And it's not just sound, it's culture in its purest form. Bangladesh is overwhelmingly Muslim, and this is apparent in every aspect of life. Their food, their clothing, their routine, even their calendar. Friday, for example, is their Sunday. However, in contrast to our period of rest, this city still buzzes, as if no one got the message that it was time to relax and slow down. The contrast is so absurd it feels like distorted poetry. On one side, drivers yelling and deafening horns. On the other, thousands kneeling silently in the street. That's Dhaka. A place where faith competes with traffic and, surprisingly, sometimes triumphs. 5. Life in the markets. If Dhaka already seems like a human anthill on the streets, wait until you go into the markets. It feels like the entire city decided to cram itself into a single aisle. In old Dhaka, at the famous Chowk Bazaar, you don't walk. You are carried by the human tide. It's akin to a World Cup final, only instead of inebriated fans, you'll find thousands of individuals with bags, live chickens, and fish dripping on the ground. Here, the word fresh truly acquires a different meaning. The chicken that goes into your pot is slaughtered right in front of you. Blood is running down, and the chicken is still twitching in spasms. The nearby dogs are ready for the self-service. For them, it's a feast. For you, pure culture shock. The smell? Indescribable, even for the devil. It's raw fish, chicken, garbage, giant fruits, like eggplants the size of your arm, all mixed with that dusty pollution in the air. You try to take a deep breath and immediately regret it, and life goes on. Vendors yelling out offers, children running through the alleys, men balancing boxes on bicycles that defy the laws of physics. And the most surreal detail, in the middle of this mess, there are electricians hanging from wires that look like an electric spider web. Just looking at it gives you a jolt. In Dhaka, there's no such thing as a street market. Dhaka is a street market. Every corner is a cauldron of color, smell, noise, and improvisation. And then you get it. Chaos isn't a system flaw. Chaos is the system. In Dhaka, even the water follows chaotic logic. See? Look at the Buriganga River. 6. The River of Death. If Dhaka already seems chaotic on solid ground, wait until you look at the heart of the city, the Buriganga River. From a distance, it almost looks like water. Up close, it looks like crude oil. As you get closer, you uncover the truth. It's simply bottled sewage. A soup of trash, broken furniture, plastic, food scraps, and even floating sofas, as if someone tossed their entire living room into the river. The smell? It's like death itself has burped right into your face. And most surreal, despite all this, the river is still part of daily life. Kids dive in as if it's a public pool. Men wash clothes in that black sludge. Families cook, bathe, and even drink the water. It's as if survival looked at logic and proclaimed, "That's your problem." The numbers leave no room for doubt. Dhaka generates 7,500 tons of trash per day, and 80% of it goes directly into the rivers. It includes all sorts of things: hospital waste, chemicals from the textile industry, and heavy metals like lead and arsenic. The result? The Buriganga River has been referred to as the Dead River for more than 15 years. Yet, life persists as children laugh while playing in its toxic waters. Fishermen pull in nets full of fish that no one in their right mind would ever dare to put on their plate. Overcrowded boats traverse the river as though nothing at all were amiss. It's humans looking at poison and saying, "This is what we have for today." The Buriganga is truly the ultimate symbol of contradiction. A river that should have sustained life has instead become a testament to our ability to turn nature into poison, yet still consider it a normal part of life. 7. The textile industry. Look in your closet. Have a Zara shirt? An H&M one? Then take note. It probably says, "Made in Bangladesh." Indeed, it likely came straight from here, from one of the many thousands of factories that overcrowd Dhaka. The textile industry is both the heart and the open wound of Bangladesh. Alone, it accounts for 80% of the country's exports. It's now the world's second biggest clothing exporter, only behind China. Here's the catch. Bangladesh is like a grain of rice compared to China. The result? Overcrowded factories operating 24 hours a day, frequently lacking ventilation, safety, or meaningful regulations. The true cost of that inexpensive t-shirt? Working conditions that are akin to modern slavery. Wages are miserable, workdays are endless, the heat is stifling, people faint on production lines, and yes, there's even child labor. In 2013, the world pretended to be shocked when the Rana Plaza building collapsed, crushing over 1,100 people. It became front-page news. Everyone vowed, never again. But deep down, almost nothing has changed. And it's not only the workers who pay. The same dye that makes your jeans blue is what paints the rivers of Dhaka with poison. Trucks dump chemical products directly into the water. Today the river is blue, tomorrow red, then black. It's fast fashion in a toxic watercolor version. It's bizarre to think about, but it's the reality. That inexpensive shirt you're wearing might have cost someone their life, or it could be contributing to turning an entire country into a chemical waste ground. In Bangladesh, every stitch carries a price the world prefers not to acknowledge. 8. A nation in revolution? If Dhaka's traffic is a battle, politics isn't far behind. In the summer of 2024, Bangladesh became a powder keg. The trigger? A new law for distributing public sector jobs, seen by the youth as just another dirty government trick. The spark ignited in the universities, but the fire quickly spread. Students and workers took to the streets demanding change. The response? Raw, unadulterated violence. Tear gas, gunshots, beatings, hundreds of dead protesters. But instead of silencing the revolt, the repression just added more fuel to the fire. The target became clear: Sheikh Hasina, the PM who'd clung to power for 20-plus years. Father of the nation's daughter, she seemed untouchable. In August, she fell. She had to flee to the neighboring country, India, to save her own skin. Today, Bangladesh is in limbo. An interim government, military on the streets, religious groups trying to grab a piece of the power. It's a transition where both hope and fear go hand in hand, and Dhaka clearly shows its scars. Toppled statues, vandalized murals, universities turned into trenches. It's a raw revolution, almost a civil war. It's strange to think the same country that sews your Zara t-shirt also weaves scenes of massacre and resistance. In Bangladesh, chaos isn't just traffic or pollution. Chaos can also dress in a suit and is called politics. 9. Modernity versus misery. Dhaka is contradiction in the form of a city. You look up and notice modern buildings, glass facades attempting to pass themselves off as a budget version of Dubai. But just look down, and reality hits you like a punch. Streets are overrun with garbage, open sewers flow freely, and children play in the midst of the chaos. The details don't let you forget where you are. Well-kept terraces, full of plants and colorful cloves on the line, are nestled close to electrical wires that look like deadly traps. Tangled wires falling onto the sidewalk, exposed to the rain. Here, walking distracted on your phone isn't just dumb, it's almost like playing Russian roulette. One wrong step and you could fall into an open manhole or get electrocuted. And in the middle of it all are the people of Bangladesh. Humble people who, even with almost nothing, still find a way to be generous. Strangers who offer help without asking for anything in return. Families who will invite a total stranger to tea as if they've been old friends. It's a hospitality that defies the city's brutality. In the street food, you find the same paradox. Incredibly delicious, flavorful, and inexpensive dishes, made with water that seems to come straight from the river of death. It's an irresistible and dangerous invitation. This is Dhaka, a metropolis that dreams of being modern, but is swallowed by its own misery. A place where the best and worst of humanity share the same corner. Dhaka isn't for tourism. Dhaka is for survival. You breathe in smoke, swallow dust, your throat burns, and still, the city never ceases to scream in your face. At night, the whole scene is truly surreal. There are illuminated boats floating on a sewage river, horns constantly echoing, and millions of people crowded into streets that are always awake. Ugly, beautiful, disturbing, all at once. Here, even having a beer is clandestine, even silence is forbidden. And when you leave, you realize Dhaka isn't just the most chaotic city in the world. Dhaka is the memory that will haunt you for the rest of your life. In the end, a simple question remains. Would you truly venture to spend a day in the most intense human anthill on Earth? Or would you merely observe from a distance, feeling relieved you weren't born into such a place? If you've made it this far, comment Dhaka below, just so I know who the loyal ones are that watch until the end. And don't forget to click the video on your screen right now. It's insane too. Thanks everybody and see you later.